What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Ghosted, a paranormal podcast. With your host, Jake Thomas. That's me, Colton Spinks, to my, I guess it would be my right if you're looking at the screen. Colton, how you doing tonight, man?
Doing pretty good, Jake. What about yourself?
Man, I'm doing great, Colton. It's been a great week, and I always look forward to Thursday night. You know, we always talk about on Thursdays what we're going to talk about, but right now we're in part three of our mini series about the Book of Revelations, and tonight we're going to talk about the seven seals that are opened up, and this is getting to the meat of what's going to happen, and like we talked about our very first episode of this about the groundwork of what's to come in Revelations. Like we always talk about, and we have talked about on here about how we feel like we are in the end time. So these things that we're talking about in this mini series may actually come to light. So we need to keep an eye on that. But
Yeah, it's the future pretty much.
right,
That's
right.
what Revelations is, a lot of it. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the seven seals, Colton, they're open after last week we talked about John's his vision that he had. We talked about the outline and the prayers to the seven churches that the message for them. Now we're into the seven seals. Now the first seal that is broken open, what it pretty much says is it is a white horse appears whose crowned rider has a bow with which to conquer. So, Colton, what do you think, and what do you envision that looking like when that time happens?
It's it's hard to say.
Yeah,
Uh is yeah, again, is this literal?
yeah,
Uh or is it representing something else? I don't know. It's hard to say. Uh, is it foretelling a great event that's going to happen, a massive event? Which, yes, if it's literal, yes, it's still going to be a massive event.
yep,
Or do these horses and riders just represent said events? I'm not sure. And doesn't it say that Jesus Christ will open these seals?
yeah.
I think it says that,
Yeah,
Jake.
yeah.
Uh,
It does. So
so Christ will
Jesus is
open
open
these
these.
seals. So the rider, the first one to conquer, I can't. We can only discuss this, Jake. Always
Yeah.
talking how complicated this is to conquer. What does that mean? Is it a leader, somebody that will become a leader, a king? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm
We
thinking more. I'm thinking more. Maybe this is Archangel's. Michael's. It could be his.
yeah,
You know, is his horse perhaps? Maybe maybe this is Jesus's horse. He comes riding in on. I don't know. Like you said, it's just a lot to decipher, and us not being you know really knowledgeable in this. This is why we're talking about it, because it needs to be addressed. It needs to be talked about, because I need to know more about the Book of Revelations than what I do. So that's why I want to do this little mini series, because there is paranormal aspects to this. I mean, a white horse with a crowned rider. I mean, you don't see a horse with and I you've seen visions and you've seen pictures of these horses kind of like have wings. So I'm sure if it's coming out of the clouds, it's going to have wings. You don't see a horse with wings every day. So it is something paranormal that's going to happen. It's definitely not normal. So it falls under the paranormal aspect of things. That's why we're talking about it.
right, yeah. And these horses, people know them. You know, the Behold a Pale Horse is a common. People
Yep.
often say that there's a book titled that, which it doesn't really have to do. I ain't going to get off track on this, but it's a guy. He was a UFO whistleblower, and they killed him. And he had this book, Behold a Pale Horse. That's what I have the book. I haven't read it all, but it's a people use that behold a pale horse. So this is known about, but I don't think it's understood. And just like we don't fully understand it right now, us talking about Revelations is different than everything else because we typically, I mean, have a lot of knowledge behind what we say usually, but this is more of a discussion.
Right.
Trying to understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what that first one is, I mean, you got me.
Yeah.
Your guess is as good as mine. A crown. He's wearing a crown.
Yep.
Is
His
that
crowned rider has a bow in which to
bow?
conquer.
You know, he's a king, a leader. I mean, that's what the
Yeah.
crown represents.
Right.
A bow represents. I mean, it's a weapon.
Right.
To conquer, to take. To conquer is to take. So, yeah, kind of
Yeah.
terrifying.
It
Hopefully,
is.
he ain't trying to conquer us. You know,
Right.
I mean,
So the second seal that is open, it says a red horse appears, whose rider is granted a quote great sword to take peace from the earth. So this don't sound real good at all because everything is now a red horse. I'd almost signifies maybe a demon because red is a symbolism for a demonic spirit, it seems like. So I mean I may be totally wrong on that, but if it's taking peace from the earth, it can't be a good thing.
no, that sounds horrible. A red horse. I mean, to take peace from the earth. Yeah, that's not good. Just trying to imagine that. Yeah, is it okay? Just say these do represent something. Could these represent countries?
Could be.
Maybe it's an idea. Again, they could be literal entities, either angels or fallen angels. You're opening a seal. I don't know. It's very strange. And the seals we hear about, the seals of Solomon. Solomon had a seal. Demons have seals. The test. A lot of the Solomon stuff. We'll talk about this one. The demons have seals, a very
Right.
intricate and detailed seals, and a seal is usually a circle with many designs inside of it. And talks about the seal of God in the Bible. Just a little background on the seals. So yeah, I mean, this one is as confusing as the previous, Jake.
Well, here's the New International Version of the Bible. And there's a little bit more context to that I found. It says that the second seal that's broken open, it was to take peace from the earth and to make people kill each other. Now again, Jesus himself is opening these seals, so it's very interesting because we know, and we'll get into it as this miniseries goes on, but there's going to be a great war between Satan and his puppets pretty much versus Jesus and his angels, and we know how that ends. But these demons have probably got to be released at some point. So I don't know, maybe Jesus is releasing them. I don't know. There's just so much here that we don't know and we can't really explain. That's why we're going through it.
Right. It talks about some angels or fallen angels being bound under the Euphrates River. We know that demons are amongst us here.
Right.
Satan is roaming freely, and at some point he'll be bound, let loose, and then for eternity bound. So it seems that some fallen angels are bound.
Right.
Could this be releasing them, like you mentioned?
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see.
Because it's about killing people, so I think it shows the demonic presence about it. I could be completely wrong on that. This is just how I'm seeing things.
Right. Yeah.
So the third seal, Colton, it was a black horse that was released here, and its rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand, and it was this one says 2 pounds of wheat for a day's wages, 6 pounds of barley for a day's wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine. Now that is very interesting because I have no idea where we're going with this black horse and its rider.
Yeah, that is something else. It's talking about wages and wheat and wine and oil,
Barley, you know.
barley. Yeah,
Mhm.
barley. Man, is that something I want? Is it talking about? I'm just throwing this out there, just talking. Could it be talking about the economy or
Mhm.
trade? You
It could
know,
be because if it's just the red horse and its rider is killing people, whoever's left has got to have some kind of income, perhaps. You know, so maybe this is what this horse does
yeah,
and
that
its
that
rider.
is something that is
Hmm.
beyond confusing. And we can't. The colors have to represent something, right?
Right,
It just
right.
seems like they would because they're all different colors. Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
this one's the most confusing so far.
Yeah.
So I don't know
The-
where to go with it.
I know it's very interesting for sure, Colton. The fourth seal, this is kind of self-explanatory because it tells you about it. But what it is, it's a pale horse. Its rider was named Death, and Hades was following close behind him. They were given power over a fourth of the earth to kill by sword, famine, and plague, and by the wild beast of the earth. So this is
Yeah,
Death right here. So and Hades. So you know, it's very interesting here what this horse, you know, we know what this one symbolizes. It symbolizes death and it symbolizes hell because it says Hades is right behind it.
yeah, this is kind of the famous one.
Mhm.
I had part of this memorized. Yeah, behold a pale horse.
Mhm.
So yeah, you said it. I mean, it's this. They're bad. It seems like the last one didn't seem so bad, but because the others around it are horrible, it seems like
Right.
that one has to be bad somehow. Uh, death and hell followed it. So it's going to bring death and destruction all throughout. It seems like dominion over what part of the earth was it?
A fourth of
A
the earth.
fourth.
Mhm.
Hmm. So yeah, a fourth part of the earth. It'll rain.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
interesting. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, not good. It kind of seems more and more like fallen angels.
Yeah.
Uh,
It does here.
but we know that angels, the good ones, they kill. They do God's will. They're not
Right.
horrible like demons, but they can cause mass destruction. We know that from the Bible. They've killed armies. They was prepared to kill mankind when Jesus was on the cross and could have done it at the
Oh yeah.
snap of a finger. So
Yep.
could these be angels? Maybe. We could entertain that idea.
Yeah. One thing interesting in the fourth seal here, it says, you know, killed by sword, famine, plague, and by the wild beast of the earth. Now, what are the wild beasts of the earth? Are we just talking about like tigers, lions, things like that? Or are we actually talking about what we feel like are, you know, paranormal presence and, you know, the dog men? You know, we think those are demon. You know, the Bigfoots, demon. The UFOs, demon. Could it be talking about that? Because we've talked about the UFO aspect of it. We think they're actually here. They're not some out galaxy far, far away and coming here. They're actually living on Earth, you know, right now. So could that be the wild beast that this particular scripture is talking about?
Yeah, it's talking about Sasquatch here, 100%. No, I'm just kidding. I
Yeah.
don't know, but it's an
Yeah.
idea, right?
You're right.
You're right. It could mean that. Yeah, and it isn't just this. It talks, people think certain things it says that it is referring to dogmen and Sasquatch and other verses. So the wild beasts of this earth, who
Mhm.
knows? Uh,
Right.
then again, it could be talking about all the animals, the the coyotes and
Yep.
the cows,
Tigers,
whatever.
lions. Yeah.
Yeah, all that stuff. Like, imagine this, when this happens, when that seal is opened, all of the animals attack people.
Mm-hmm.
Just a flip of a switch, they try to kill us. You know,
Mm.
imagine just every bird trying to, you know, impale you with their beak, and
Right.
every fire ant, wasp trying to
Oh,
attack you. That would be horrible, and it
yeah.
seems like it could be a possibility.
It very well could be. And also the plague. You know, we had a what we call a pandemic a few years ago with with COVID that got released. This plague, this famine is going to be 100% worse than that, and that killed off a bunch of people. I mean, this famine, I've read somewhere before that it's going to attack your water supply. It's going to attack your crops. There's going to be nothing to eat. There's going to be nothing to drink water from, and you can live without food. You've got to have water to survive, though. And if you don't have that water source, then you're going to die pretty much. So this right here, this horse and this rider is attacking all that. So again, here is moving into motion. The getting rid of the scum of the earth, pretty much.
Yeah, we can kind of imagine how that would go. A plague,
Hmm.
oh, history, and I imagine it like this. Imagine the common cold, the flu,
Yep.
whatever. Uh, Pretend that is a deadly plague, and just like somebody gets the cold, uh,
Hmm.
they would get that, and they just suffer and die. And then everybody that was around them, that worked with them, that lived in the same home, family, they acquire that too. They catch it, so it just spreads like wildfire. Uh, I can see that happening. Uh,
Yeah.
we kind of see how that would play out. Hospitals being over, you know, couldn't get in, no cure for it. So it's too realistic. It is.
Yeah, for sure. The fifth seal, Colton. When it's open, under the altar, the souls of those who have been slain because of the word of God and the testimony they have maintained, they're called martyrs. They cried out in a loud voice, "How long, sovereign Lord, holy and true, until you judge the inhabitants of earth and avenge our blood?" So,
Oh, that's interesting.
yeah. So this seal, the fifth seal, when it's broke, when it's open, it sounds like those who are not of the Lord are actually finally like calling out to him for peace, but at that time it's too late.
So is this what it is? Kind of. So the Christians in heaven, especially the ones that have died for, you know, died in the name of Christ, martyred.
Hmm.
Uh, they're like, okay, how long until you avenge us and
Right.
judge the wicked, and
Yep.
the ones in hell are about to be judged. Does that
Yeah.
sound right? So
Yeah.
Christians in heaven are like,
Hmm.
hey, when you going to avenge us? Is it time yet? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah. It says they're given white robes and told to rest until martyrdom and their brothers is completed. So it sounds like they're given white robes and told to rest until their time of judgment, until all this is over with. Sounds like to me.
Okay, yeah.
Hmm.
So that would that verse there go against, some people live in purgatory, and it doesn't seem like there is a purgatory. If you ask me, where I sit right now, I don't. I think we go straight to heaven or hell, and this would further support that in saying these people are in heaven. Would you say that, Jake? They're in heaven and they're separated from the people that will not go to heaven. Is that what it seems like?
Yeah, I can see that, Colton. I'm saying here thinking also this could be those who are left here on earth. This could be they that says for them to rest until everything is completed. Could that be the rapture? Could that be, they're waiting for the rapture at this point? I don't know. That's something we'll get into later on in this mini series of is a rapture. But either these are the ones who, like you said, the Christians who are in heaven and waiting to be judged, perhaps, or maybe their souls are still here on earth and waiting for the rapture to get to heaven to be judged. That's kind of the two things I see here, perhaps.
Maybe. Yeah, it
Mhm.
could be. I don't know. What did it say they were under the altar? What did it say there?
Under the altar of God.
Now, what does that mean
Right.
exactly? I'm not sure. Under the
Yeah.
altar of God. Well, that'd be something to look into. Try to figure out what that means because that's a key in this, I believe.
Yep.
This specific seal.
Yep. I agree.
That one's a
There's
little better, a little less
right.
gloomy. There's hope in that one.
Yeah, there's hope. The sixth seal, and what this is a great earthquake. The sun turns to black like sackcloth made of goat hair, and the whole moon turns blood red. The stars in the sky fall to earth. The figs drop from the fig tree when shaken by a strong wind. So this sounds like just disaster. There's earthquakes. The sun goes black. The moon, turns blood red. Now we've seen, they call it a blood moon before. This is probably going to be. This is going to be worse than that. It's actually going to turn red, and that's very interesting because we just had a seal opened up that kind of gives you hope, and then we go right back to disaster, pretty much.
Yeah, this is obviously a natural disaster, except for caused by a seal. It's not a normal natural disaster.
Right.
Maybe we could take natural out of that and just say disaster because it's not occurring naturally, right? It's occurring by biblical means. I wonder if that says earthquake. I wonder if that could cause volcanoes to erupt, and
Hmm.
when a volcano erupts, it puts out all this black soot and smoke,
Yep.
and it can maybe turn the sun black. You think like cover it with not the literal like fill the atmosphere with dark smoke and make it like the sun is blacked out.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't know. I'm just thinking here, and maybe that could make the moon a reddish color
Hmm.
by filling our atmosphere uh, with smoke, or it could just turn red
Right.
some other way, and maybe the sun can turn black. We know there's sunspots which are black; they're darker spots. Maybe
Hmm.
I'm not a scientist here, but somehow that happens, and maybe the sunspots can magnify greatly, and the whole sun be black.
Right. Yep.
So just you know
Um,
possibilities.
yeah. It also says every mountain and island is moved out of place. The people of Earth retreat to caves in the mountains. The survivors call upon the mountains and the rocks to fall on them as to hide them from the wrath of the Lamb. Right
Oh,
here, the right in this interlude, right before the seventh seal is open, you have the 144,000 Hebrews are sealed. What this is that the 12 tribes of Israel are sealed as servants of God on their foreheads. A great multitude stand before the throne of God who come out of the great tribulation, clothed their robes made white in the blood of the Lamb, and having palm branches in their hands. So we are right in the middle of the great tribulations, they call it, and these Hebrews, these 144,000, are given their robe and crown, pretty much what it sounds like.
right. Yeah, I know there's been speculation on the 144,000.
Hmm.
Who is that in particular? I'm not sure. Uh, well, I guess it said Hebrews, but I don't know. So people will go to the wilderness to hide
Mm-hmm.
from Christ coming back. That's what it said, right? From hiding from the Lamb's wrath. So
Yeah.
the Lamb is Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ, we know the second coming is not going to be so easy on the people. So they're going to hide in the wilderness, it seems like. And at
Yep.
that point, it's got to be like, okay, we can't deny it. It's too late.
Yeah.
We didn't repent and turn to God, and now it's here he comes. Maybe that's what it sounds like, and they're going to hide. But I mean, how you going to hide from God?
Right.
Uh, you can't just go in a cave and it be all right. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's something else right there. That can kind of embody this whole end times thing. That one seal.
Yeah. So I found that it says all the tribes of Israel. So the tribe of Judah, there's 12,000 there. The tribe of Reuben, 12,000. Gad, 12,000. The tribe of Asher, 12,000. The tribe of Naphtali, 12,000. Tribe of Manasseh, 12,000. 12,000 from the tribe of Simeon. The tribe of Levi, 12,000. The tribe of Issachar, 12,000. The tribe of Zebulun, 12,000. The tribe of Joseph, 12,000. And from the tribe of Benjamin, 12,000. So that's your whole tribes of Israel at this point in time.
Is that, I wonder, speaking about old times way
Could be.
back when, or now?
So yeah, that's
Yeah, we need somebody. We need a scholar in here to
yeah.
help us out a little bit of biblical scholar.
Yeah. So this leads up into the seventh seal, which pretty much leads us into our next week's episode. The seventh seal introduces the seven trumpets. And real quick, what really happens, it says there's silence in heaven for about an hour. There's seven angels who are each given trumpets. An eighth angel takes a golden censer filled with fire from the heavenly altar and throws it to the earth. What follows are peals of thunder, rumblings, flashes of lightning, and an earthquake. So there's another earthquake. The eighth angel has devastated the earth. The seven angels introduce and prepare to sound their trumpets. And then next week's episode, we get into what each trumpet represents. So, man, those seals, I need to know more about those. We need to get somebody who's biblically involved in this because there's a lot there, a lot of questions I have myself that I want to know about because, guys, we need to get ready because even if this is not in a lifetime, we still need to be ready for something like this to happen. We need to be prepared every waking moment that we're on this earth for this to happen.
Right. Yeah. It is. It's kind of terrifying. This Revelations it talks about death and destruction for many, as well as hope and good things. Gives us a glimpse of heaven and the New Jerusalem, angels, and Satan. So yeah, seals very important in the spiritual realm. We couldn't say why. I couldn't guess why seals are used so much in on both sides, good and evil.
Right.
Just seals are used. An ancient thing, very ancient. They're depicted in text, and why? It's just a marker. I'm not sure, but it was fun to try to figure some of this out, and I think we've got more questions now than we had coming into this.
Yeah, for sure. But it's been a fun little series here. Next week we're getting to the trumpets, and after the trumpets, I mean, we're getting into pretty much the meat of what's going to happen in Revelations. We're talking about the Great War, we're talking about a new earth, a new Jerusalem, and all that's to come. But I guarantee these 7 trumpets will probably be a great thing for the new earth and start slowly getting things back into a more Christian-like state than what we've have read about and talked about in the last. I think we're in chapter 8 now. So the first, 7 chapters have been doom and gloom. It seems like, and now I think we're kind of getting into a better standing of, we still got the war to go through, but we know how that's going to end, and that's always a positive thing. That is a positive thing. Jesus takes over and pretty much sets up a new earth. So we'll get all into that. Colton, you got anything else you want to add tonight?
No, yeah, we covered it as good as we could. It was fun.
Yeah, it was, man. And we'll do some more, talking next week on the 7 seals, or the 7 trumpets. But anyway, guys, thank you for listening. I would try to have this uploaded by this weekend. Maybe I'll try to do it tonight, but I won't put it out on Tuesday afternoon like I did the past episode, just so busy over the holiday weekend. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. Colton, thank you as always. It's great talk with you tonight. And we'll be back next week right here on Ghosted, a paranormal podcast, with part 4, the 7 trumpets. I'm ready for it, Colton. It's going to be a great one. Thank you all.
I agree.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening. Good night. And we'll see you next Thursday.